Hey there, my name is Mackenzie and welcome to my little corner of the internet. As of January 2024, I've been doing YouTube for 4 years now. Not all of that was public. The first year and a half I did YouTube, I was making vlogs and other content, but I kept it private so that I could figure out what I really liked doing, if I enjoyed doing YouTube, if I enjoyed editing and creating content, how much of myself I wanted to share, etc, etc. It was like a trial period for like a year and a half, and then once I made my YouTube account public, I've just continued it ever since. But it has been 4 years since I've started my YouTube journey, and I realized the other day that I never did a channel introduction video. I don't think people normally do, to be honest with you. I think people just kind of start posting these days, but I would like to do one. Over the last like 3 months, I think since October, I've seen a huge growth in subscribers, like really quickly. It's been sort of surprising because I've done YouTube for so long, like at least for the last 3 years, I've been public doing YouTube content and it's never really been getting anywhere. I started this year with like 8 subscribers, and the fact that I'm ending it at 50 is crazy. Like, I was kind of starting to lose hope a little bit there. For a little while I was starting to think I would really never get anywhere. So even though 50 might seem like a small number to most, it's so exciting to me. And the fact that there's 50 people who genuinely love what I do and enough to want to follow me is like, it makes me so happy. It brings me so much joy. I've been praising myself. Spent a lot of my recap celebrating this. Proud of the wins. Reaching 50 subs. Reaching 50 subs on YouTube. Like, it keeps coming up because I'm so excited about it. Well, if someone could just do me the favor of subbing to me before the end of 2023 so that I can really say that I ended 2023 with 50 subs, that would be great. That would be really awesome. As my content's going to be expanding this year, I'm going to be trying a lot of new things. My life is going to be changing a lot this year. I realized that I'm probably going to start gaining more followers, and I want people who kind of come across my little corner of the internet to have somewhere they can go to get, you know, a good idea of who I am and what I do. So even though it's kind of late in my channel to do something like this, better late than never is my life motto. So let's get to it. Let's start with the basics. My name is Mackenzie. I'm 27 years old, born July 4th, 1996, and I am an artist, content creator, and YouTuber, obviously. As for little tidbits about me, I'm a triplet, 2 boys and a girl. I'm blind in my left eye. I've never broken a bone a day in my life. My favorite colors are pink and yellow, and when I say yellow, I specifically mean like sunny, warm, gentle yellow tones. If we're getting into neon territory or like cold yellow tones, greenish yellow tones, I'm gonna puke. Just don't even, you know what I mean? That's like actually one of my worst favorite shades of any color ever. So specifically warm, gentle yellows is key. But I do get into other colors, like randomly. I'll like get really into lavender all of a sudden, and it's like I start wanting to buy a lot of things in lavender or wear that color a lot. For example, that happened to me last year. I get really into that color and then that obsession fades and I move on to the next one. But the pink and the yellow have stood the test of time. They are my all-time favorite colors, and that has never changed. I also do this little like weird obsession where I get really into something and then it fades off with food, which I also really love so much. Eating more than making, but I really love food, and I have so many times in my life I've gotten like specifically obsessed with something and then eaten it until I can never eat it again for the rest of my life. Dill pickle crispers, I'm looking at you. I am so sorry that I ate an entire bag of you every day after school for like a month, because now the smell of dill pickle in general, just on anything at all, makes me sick. and that was over a decade ago that I did that, and it's just never been the same since. I've also done that with Kraft Dinner and pretzels and popcorn and Cheerios, like just the regular Cheerios. I can't explain that one, because if we're being real, Cheerios kind of smell like dog food. Like if you're not thinking about it, you know what I mean? Like you close your eyes and you smell the way that Cheerios smell. They smell like dog food. Why I felt the need to eat multiple bowls after school for weeks on end, I don't know, but that was like a need to do. Like it was like instinctual for like weeks on end. Most of these foods I've come back around to and I can eat them again, but there's even some things that I actually developed like an allergy to, like hot chocolate, for example. My mouth would swell up when I would have hot chocolate, and I can't explain that one, dude. I drank it every day for the span of like 3 months, and it got to the point where my body was like, you need to stop. And that's usually how most of my food obsessions end. It's not that it runs its course and I just move on to something else, it's that it makes me sick to eat it, and now I have no choice but to move on to something else. I don't know, dude, but that's a common theme with me. I also really like cats and bears. Recently, I've been really into bears, and like I've always liked them, but I've really gotten into them this year. I'm a nail tech, technically, or at least I have my license to be one. I got it when I was 16. I took a college course, and when I was still in high school over the summertime. It was a 7-day thing where they just took an entire course and crammed it into 7 days. And if that didn't teach me that the education system really can be done in a more efficient way, I don't know what else would have, because we learned everything that we would need to know within 7 days. It was stellar. Obviously, I couldn't work in a salon until I was like, I think I had to be 18 or 20. I can't remember, but there's like the rule about how old you have to be to work in a salon. So my nail tech license wasn't necessarily useful at that time, but I did try to use it later on to get work, and it didn't really work out. But yeah, so I used to do nail art like really frequently. Like it was a huge hyperfixation for years for me throughout high school, and I got really good at it, and I don't do it as much anymore. I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, and it just is such a shame when it gets ruined because I'm painting or I'm doing something and it just doesn't feel as worth it anymore. I think that covers it for little tidbits right now. That's all I can think of off the top of my head that would be of any interest to anyone, or that I feel comfortable sharing at the very least. Let's move on to what I do. As you'll notice from my channel when you're going through, I do a lot of art because I'm an artist. I am purely self-taught. I had never took any classes or anything like that aside from like high school art classes, but other than that, I've never really pursued art educationally. It's always been a personal thing for me, something I've just done and practiced and taught myself how to do. I mostly stick to realism. I did have a manga phase when I was like, I think 12 to 14. It literally spanned 2 years of my life. It was like a hyper fixation for me. And then I kind of shifted in my teenage years back to doing portraits of my favorite Japanese celebrities. And then I just kind of continued more in that realistic sort of vein for the art that I would make going into my adult years, and a lot of the art that I would make for my art projects in school. And as I said earlier, obviously I'm a YouTuber and content creator, and a lot of my content here on YouTube, as the channel name suggests, Kenzie channel, it's about me. So this is sort of a place where I just share me, my likes and my dislikes and my experiences and my interests and the things that I create, the things that I do, the things that I'm inspired by and thinking about, and just kind of everything, just everything that is me is put into this channel. In terms of my hobbies and interests, I obviously art and crafty stuff, like really building things, making things with my hands is definitely like a huge part of my life, and especially over the last like year or so, I've really come to realize how significant that aspect of my life is. I truly am happiest when I am creating, regardless of what that takes the form of. So this also includes making videos, as I discovered when I started YouTube. I wasn't quite sure if I would enjoy the editing process, but I actually find it so exciting to even create something digitally in the form of a video, and I really genuinely love that process. So yeah, creating things, it's a huge thing for me. Japanese culture, entertainment, the language, most of my life at this point has been dedicated to learning and experiencing and discovering and enjoying all of that. So a lot of my content for this year will be going more in that direction. Up until now, I've dipped my toes into it occasionally, but I haven't really fully deep dived, so I will be doing more of that this year. I love dancing. I'm not that great at it, but it brings me so much immense joy to do it that I do it anyway. And I also really like video games, which I don't play an extensive amount of. I'm mostly a Nintendo girl. I believe I talked about this in the last episode of the 52-week activity challenge series, but growing up, being a triplet, you know, that's a lot of kids to buy gifts for and things like that, and Nintendo often were the cheapest on the market and very family oriented, so I think my family felt comfortable buying Nintendo games and systems for us growing up because they knew that they would be not just good quality, but that they would be appropriate for our age and that we would enjoy them for years to come. And they were right about that, because I have never played a Nintendo game I didn't thoroughly enjoy. It might have issues, but I always have fun while I'm playing it, and that's how video games should be as far as I'm concerned. They should be fun. My favorite video games are the Legend of Zelda series. I'm a huge Legend of Zelda fan, and Animal Crossing are the ones I come back to the most. Every console I've ever owned, personally, whether it was bought for me as a gift as a kid or that I've purchased as an adult, has been a Nintendo console, and that will probably continue for like the rest of my life. And before we move on, I don't want you to think that I'm like a Nintendo snob or I think that Nintendo's like better than everyone else. They've got problems, believe me. I recognize them. I criticize them on the regular. It's more that I just really enjoy their games most of the time. I know that Nintendo games are going to be challenging to some degree, but I also know they're going to be fun and exciting, and even if there isn't as much of a challenge to it, I don't need them to be challenging to be fun and enjoyable, because I know that when I purchase them, I'm going to enjoy what I'm playing, even if it does have faults. Whereas like that hasn't always been the case when I've played games with my brothers on their consoles that were not Nintendo, or sometimes I just find that I don't care for first-person shooters, I don't care for battle royale kind of content, and I don't care for horror games or anything that like scares the living shit out of me or makes me uncomfortable in any way. It's like when I sit down and play video games, I just want to have fun, dude. I just want to have fun. I want to enjoy my little time playing my little games, and I don't want anything more or less from it. So I tend to gravitate more towards Nintendo because that's the kind of content they tend to provide. The Legend of Zelda is probably, in terms of their mainline games that I play, the spiciest they get is with Zelda. And I can handle that, that's fine. Although Zelda has caused me an immense amount of stress several times. The Gloom Hands in Tears of the Kingdom, that shit crossed a line for me, okay? Like, whew, I discovered them first in the depths, in the complete blackness. There's actually no fear like that. There's just not. That did me in. I was so ready to just put the controller down and never pick it up again after that experience. It was horrifying. I also really enjoy reading. I don't do it as much as I used to, but my two favorite book series are Alice in Wonderland and Anne of Green Gables. Anne of Green Gables, dude, if you haven't read it, you should, because it's so wholesome and it's so good. And those two franchises are some of my favorite. I'm a huge fan of both of those series. As for music, I like all different types of music. I don't know if it's the ADHD or what, but like I like so many different genres of music. You can't pigeonhole me into any one thing. But lately I've been really into music that just feels like sunshine you know? It gives me that like instant shot of dopamine, dude. I want to feel like I'm walking on sunshine when I'm listening to this song. So I've sort of been gravitating towards music that makes me feel really good and feels bright and happy. I'm really into Japanese idols and have been since I was 11. It's not quite the same as it was. As I got into adulthood, it has shifted a little bit for me. Maybe I'll talk about that in a different video, but currently my favorites in terms of female groups are NiziU, XG. I feel like they almost don't count. Like they're idols, but like they're like a different category, almost all on their own, but I'm gonna count them here. And Hello Project, which was my gateway into Japanese entertainment and idols, and so they hold a very special place in my heart in terms of male groups. I really like Heisei Jump. They've got my heart. They're my number one, my ride or die. And also Travis Japan, and even though they're on hiatus, Arashi. I also really like Perfume, so they're worth noting here as well, even though they're technically not idols, or at least I don't consider them to be, but they're definitely worth mentioning. I saw them live in 2018 in Toronto, and it was one of my best life experiences. Alrighty, enough about me. I'll be doing more videos about my specific likes and dislikes, especially as it relates to Japanese music, entertainment, and culture, but we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about this channel and what you'll find here if you choose to take a gander and subscribe. The content that I make on this channel can be broken up into 4 categories. Starting with art, you will find a lot of stuff like paint with me's, draw with me's, that kind of thing, making ofs for collections, and larger pieces like canvas paintings. Journaling content is a really huge thing for me. I do both my art journal series and my J-pop journal series. I do a lot of that. The second is vlog content, which makes up a good portion of what I do. It's kind of in a little bit of everything, but it also is its own thing. Sort of days in my life, sort of type videos, the 52-week activity challenge series, which has ended, but that is a vlog series. Japanese culture, entertainment, language learning videos. Like I said before, this one I haven't done quite as much in the past, especially over the last like few months. I've been kind of expanding a bit more in that area, but you will see more content like that this year. Things like study with me's, videos about my progress with learning Japanese and what I'm doing currently, what I recommend, tips and advice, music recommendations, movie, drama recommendations, that kind of thing. I'm gonna be doing a lot of stuff like that this year. Also, expanding will be the fashion and beauty aspect of my content. More sort of outfit of the day sort of videos and that kind of thing, hairstyling, makeup videos. I'm still learning as I go. So rather than me already being good at it and teaching you what I already know, you're gonna watch me learn as I go and hopefully see progress over the next year. But I think that fashion and beauty content will be the most neglected, I think, out of everything that I do, just because I don't have a super large wardrobe. I don't have, you know, a lot of materials to work with for stuff like that. So when you do see videos like that, it will be probably more in the vein of trying new hairstyles, trying new makeup looks, that kind of thing. As for other places you can find me, I'm on TikTok, where I do basically the same things what I do here. I also have my main Instagram, where it's mostly just like photos that I take. I'm also really into photography, so I just take photos and I edit them to give them sort of like a retro aesthetic, because I'm really into that, and I post them there. So that's mostly what I do, but it's just like my daily life and just thoughts and outfit posts and selfies and like, you know, standard Instagram account. It's nothing special. I do post some reels of my journaling content, my art content occasionally. More of what I do on TikTok and YouTube will start getting folded into my Instagram this year, but that's just kind of where we're at right now. I also have my art Instagram, which is where I post unfiltered, unedited photos of all of my art, and so you can find that there as well. I also have a Facebook page, but most people my age and younger don't use Facebook that much or at all anymore, so I don't expect you to go there, but that is available if you do use Facebook and you would like to follow me there. X is a shit show, so I have migrated to Tumblr, which I didn't think I'd ever return to again, but here we are. So if you're on there, you want to follow me on there, you don't use other social media platforms or something, you can find me there. I also have a Pinterest as well, which I started this year as a way of posting my art and my photography and like other things that I post that I think other people will get inspiration out of and enjoy, but also having control over those pins, so people can find me when they find those photos and they want to know who took them, when they find that art and they want to know who made it, they can, like, I've posted it so that they can find it. I know that's not entirely foolproof. People are going to steal your art and your photos and your work, and they're going to put it elsewhere. It's kind of an inevitable but really gross part of the internet, but at least I have some control, more so than if I didn't post it myself at all. So you can find me on Pinterest as well if that's your vibe. And finally, my fourth wall. I will be doing a proper video about this when I have all the samples available. But fourth wall is a website where I'm selling my prints of my work, and so if you like my art and you want to purchase it, that's the place to go to. I have a link tree in my about section here on YouTube, and also in all of my bios across my social medias where I can have a link. I'll also include it in the description box, along with a few other links of like my main socials that I have in every description box. I also will have my link tree where you can just find everything all in one go. And that's it. That's who I am, what I do, and where you can find me other than YouTube. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was interesting. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, if you'd like to see specific videos about things I've talked about in this video, if you would like to see me do a Q&A at some point, feel free to let me know. Even just giving this video a like would be immensely helpful. If you go through my channel and you like what you see and you want to subscribe, thank you. I hope you enjoy your time here on my little corner of the internet. But if you don't, that's okay too. No worries. I won't like hate you or anything. And with that, Happy New Year. I hope that you all have a great 2024. I'm so excited for all of the different things I'm going to try this year, the way that my content is going to be expanding and evolving, and the way that my life is going to be changing this year and evolving. And I'm really excited to take you on that journey through this YouTube channel and the other places that you can find me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you around on my little corner of the internet.